Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Texans Probe. Today, we're going to kind of recap the Green Bay Packers game. I know this game it kind of feels like the Minnesota game all over again. It was a lot closer, but similar things happened in this game. Very frustrating game. Um, Defense
Uh,
played well. The defense really kept the Texans in this game, and Joe Mixon. But outside of that, just not a lot. I mean, the offensive line. I'm sure we'll get into it, but it was brutal. Um, how you feeling, Drew?
yeah, honestly, that's a great way to put it. Because, like, yeah, mentally, it was that frustrating as the Vikings lost. But okay, the defense, like, just legitimately played 10,000 times better
Yeah.
against Green Bay versus Minnesota. A lot of that could be, we saw Jordan Love make some interesting decisions, but I guess you could say, well, Jake Hansen, he stepped in, he played
Yep.
nice. Again, I don't think D'Amico ever asks a lot out of the secondary, really. It's just, simple cover two, cover four, cover three. We didn't see too much man coverage. We did see D'Angelo Ross try to get physical at some points, there. And press
Yeah.
coverage.
That didn't go well. Yeah.
Um, it didn't go well on some plays. But it wasn't like anything flashy. It was just
No.
a good, formidable defense that kept the Texans in the game. And then you get to the offense, and it's just not looking good. And I was telling Jacob before this, I wish I knew, like, I wish we had like an offensive line coach on here at some point. Just so like someone would be like, okay, this is what should happen instead of this. Maybe it is just one player. And some people are calling for Kenyon Green to be out. I get that. But if a problem from what I'm seeing is passing off stunts and
Yeah.
stuff like that, maybe that gets better just because like it can't get worse.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we are. Can it get worse? I think that's kind of the best way for me to put it right now. I'm not sure it could get much worse, because they haven't been effective at doing it. So how can you like if you're not
Hmm.
effective at something, then like the only thing you can try to do is build off of that and get better so that it won't. So I don't know. Like, could it get worse? I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, the argument that I've kind of made is recently that I was not a Kenyon Green believer coming into the year. We talked about that earlier in the season when he was actually playing pretty well. Like, I was not a believer of him at all coming out of college, even though I'm an A&M fan. I just didn't think he was very good.
That's
And
how you know it's
yeah, I
Come
thought he
on.
was fine, but definitely was not a top 15 type offensive line pick. It just was not like that at A&M. But when we watch the film, the problem is that I don't see how left guard play could get a lot worse. Like Kendrick Green stepped in last year for a couple games and was significantly better than what you've seen from Kenyon. And also Jarrett Patterson played left guard in college, hasn't played it yet, but I'd rather see Jarrett Patterson. I know he didn't play well against Chicago, but I don't think he's a good run blocker, and I think that's a known thing. But I also don't think Kenyon Green's a good run blocker. I think he's living off the fact that he was hyped up to be a good run blocker, but he whiffs on a ton of run plays. I'd rather see Jarrett Patterson or Kendrick Green at guard at this point, just to try something else. I mean, maybe it doesn't fix a whole lot, but I don't think it could get a lot worse than Kenyon. I think there's like I don't know how many guards have technically taken like the snap like to qualify as a starter, but he's the worst, and he was the worst his rookie year. So at some point, he's just like not very good. And it's been 20 games, and it's like I posted the stat today, but I was even shocked that like so he started 20 games, he has 19 penalties, 65 pressures, and 7 sacks allowed in those 20 games he's played. It's brutal, and there's no sign of improvement from him. Um,
Yeah.
so I think at some point he's just got to go. Um, but like you said, he's not the only issue on that offensive line. There's definitely it's more a communication thing to me than anything. And it seems like to me, I saw a couple plays where in the film it almost looks like the tackles are trying to help too far inside on the guard, and then they don't get out to the edge rusher, which to me almost signals that they don't trust the guard, which because I don't know why you would help down so far if you know you can't get back. So almost to me, it's like we don't trust Kenyon and we don't trust Shaq Mason, so we're gonna try to help out if we can. But you have to block your guy at the end of the day, and they just were letting Rashawn Gary pretty much in the backfield the entire game. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I agree with what you're saying in terms of the tackles playing a little bit inside. So I saw some of that. That's kind of what I mean, where I don't necessarily know
Yeah.
that's
No,
the
I don't
right
know
thing to
either.
do there. Maybe they just need to look at the film and say, okay, next time let's do this. But and that's why I really want to see every team in the NFL that the Texans play try to do the same thing that the
Yeah, yeah.
Packers play. Because I want to know if they fixed the problem. I don't want this to sneak back up during the playoffs and teams just sit back and play zone coverage and only rush four passers. I want someone, a lesser team. I don't care if it's the Colts or the Jets or the Titans. I want someone to just try to do what the Packers did, what the Vikings did, so
Yeah.
that we know if we fixed it or not. And then there you go. Because sure, the Packers are a good football team. We all see the power rankings. We see the Packers at 5, 6, 7, the Texans right below them. Kind of crazy that after that game. You could say that, but that's just the respect to the Packers. So I really would love to see a lesser team try this because when people look at the Texans, they're 5-2. Okay, they lost the two top five teams. Well, I don't feel that way about that because of how
No.
they played in those losses. I'm not really sure that you can say that they lost to the Packers, they lost to the Vikings. They kind of lost to themselves. It wasn't, I mean, sure, the score suggests that this was an absolute instant classic. No, this game was hard
Yeah,
to
it
watch.
was
There was
yeah, it was
nothing
brutal,
fun
yeah.
about watching the second half. Even that final drive where they got the field goal was an absolute disgusting to watch. The Packers made a couple mistakes on their part that allowed the Texans to drive down the field and get the field goal there. And then CJ had his magic on the other play. I don't know how to feel about the Texans right now, but of course, if a team just plays basic defense, they'll be fine. But
Yeah.
I want to see someone, try to do what the Packers did.
Yeah, speaking of that last drive where they got the field goal, like boy oh boy, that sequence was awful.
Yeah. It
I
was.
it was brutal. And there's
Also,
no
Bobby
way you
Slowick
can
had a really bad game. I think that Bobby Slowick just wasn't really thinking from in terms of three levels in terms of the passing offense. You can just see a lot of times where the Packers are communicating things, passing it off, just taking what comes to them, and there's nothing to open up the other routes. And when we go to third down, the film today, well, we can look over some of that, but Slowick has to help out Stroud a little bit more because I'm not sure how any NFL quarterback could do with what was given to him because no one was open. And that's not even a separation thing. Like, I really can't look at that and put any blame on the wide receivers. I think that the scheme from the passing offense was disappointing. Some run plays are just a player performance, and then blitzes, stunts, and whatever. It left up to your interpretation, and then we want to hopefully see what happens again if someone attacks the Texans the same way.
Yep, let's go ahead and get started. I will share the screen. Let's get into some of these third down. Is it sharing? No, I didn't
No,
click.
not
There we
yet.
go. There
There
we
we go.
go.
Yeah.
Got you. Let's go ahead. Let's go. I have not watched a ton of film from this week, so I'm kind of interested. I was kind of waiting for this, uh, waiting to see what we get here. Here we go. Third. Okay. First down. Oh, this was so bad. Um, I, just, I mean, I posted this because it's just kind of laughable. Like, I know that they're rushing to get the snap off, but also, like, you could just pause it at this point. I don't know whose responsibility is again. Like, clearly they're trying to slide left, but at some point, Rashawn Gary lining up at linebacker, he ain't covering. He's not covering. So
And,
he's
and, and
coming.
really the big problem is from a freeze frame perspective is why we got two double teams going on. Like
Yeah.
that's a problem in its own self. So that's not player based, obviously. Um, you can't allow that to become a habit. You have to help each other out. I see Mason getting eyes on Rashawn and Gary, but he's not going to be able to get to him.
No.
And I feel like Kenyon maybe got a little bit too wide. I think that's kind of what I jotted down there in my notes that Kenyon got a little bit too wide. And there's just, and then obviously once we press play, you're going to see that he goes, tries to get back to Gary, and he's not going to be able to make that block, of course, from where he's standing to where Gary shoots
Yeah.
in.
No. I mean, this one. Let's see what down would play. Is this third and six? Oh yeah.
And then this, to me, was very I don't understand why Schultz would think of anything else to do other than take the outside man because Dare is on the right side. He's not going to be able to take the wide man. He's also running a route to make help the spacing concept out there. So that one is player based on Dalton Schultz, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about this play, Jacob,
Oh,
but
I agree. No, I agree.
yeah.
The one thing that I really hate about Dalton Schultz sometimes is I feel like he misses these assignments and then looks around like it's not his fault. He does that very consistently, and it's like I always think. Now, granted, sometimes there's nobody to block, but for the most part, if you don't put a body on anybody, you probably messed
And
up. For the most part, for the most part. I just kind of wanted to go back because what's honestly okay. I didn't mean to click out of that. What's frustrating is you probably could have had something here like Daria out of the backfield. You probably could have hit Diggs, but there's just no time because you have it. What's frustrating is a lot of times you when you look at it, they actually have the players are in place to block it, but they don't pick it up. Because this is actually like a good job by the offensive line. They pick up this kind of stunt that comes at them. Kenyon does a nice job. You get this guy looping around. This guy right here, Gary, he loops around. Kenyon does a good job picking that up. But Schultz just doesn't block the outside guy.
yeah, and you could see his eyes are peeked inside the entire time.
Yeah, which
I
which for the
understand.
most outside guy, it's a mistake. I mean,
Right.
it like you have to be.
And then he turns out, oh shit, you can already see his reaction too. So
Yeah.
that one definitely just simply on him and unfortunate. I mean,
Oh, Jesus.
the fact that Texans even scored 22 points is quite laughable.
Yeah, this one to me, like again, I'm not an offensive line coach. I don't really know, but to me, it seems like this is on Tunsil because why is he blocking the linebacker when Dare's there? Wouldn't you would
I
think you'd
think
want
that's
him on the.
just a. Oh yeah, I remember this one actually a lot because look how if you go back, Tunsil turns his whole body in.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
never
yeah,
going to be able to catch a stunt if you're turned in there. You need to stay square, and Tunsil actually did a good job on stunts on his side later in the game because he stayed square and he used his hips. But you're totally fucked if you turn in like that and you can't get
yeah.
wide and you he has the athleticism to be able to stop this, but I don't understand. You're right, Jacob. I don't understand why, and I wish I understood why he goes on
Because
45. I don't get
yeah,
it.
to me, I would assume that his job here, it look so you kind of see Hutchinson almost chip 55, right? He kind of just gets in the way. But why is Tunsil coming so far inside when 55 is clearly coming? Who does he expect
Yeah,
to
yeah, that's
block
a
him?
pass rusher all the way. That's not like number
Who does he
29.
expect? Because I saw people talking about it where I think it was Seth Payne actually talked about this play where he was saying that maybe it's on Dare where he needs to block. But why would Dare block why would he block the pass rusher over the linebacker that's coming out the middle? That makes no sense to me. It seems like if you're looking at it like this,
That's a
right?
communication
You
thing
got
at the end of the day.
yeah, you got Titus here, you got Mason, you got Juice, and then I mean, you pretty much have two guys to block 45, or if a stunt comes, Kenyon can pick it up, and then I mean, you have 3-on-3 on this side and 2-on-3. There's no way that two guys should come free. There's no way. You have the numbers. I mean, just look at it on paper, and you get a chip from Hutchinson. This is actually not a. I mean, it's not a poorly designed like concept on the offensive line. They just are horrible at basic problems here. Like I just don't understand why Tunsil is coming inside to block 45. He knows he has to get outside to 55. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I hate to say it, but what if he just forgot that 55 was there? I know
Yeah,
they're
I mean
football
it's
players,
possible.
but that really comes down to it. I understand he's in a wide nine, but that's not something that isn't seen. Like the Texans
Yeah.
run a wide nine. You see that shit in practice. So I don't really understand why, but I hate to say it, but he could have genuinely just forgot. Like it really could come down to that. Or this could be on Dare. That's also fair to say too.
Yeah.
At least this time we know the two culprits. I mean, at least
Yeah,
they
it's
can
one
go
of the
to the
two.
film session and they can talk about that and they can figure it out from there maybe.
Yeah. And this is why it's frustrating to me when you watch Texans film with the offensive line, especially because for the most part, it's not like one-on-one getting beat where it's just a guy getting outmanned. It's a lot of times like I said, you have 3-on-2 here, you have 3-on-3 here. It shouldn't be a problem trying to block this. You have the correct numbers and a chip, which Hutchinson actually chips pretty well. That's a pretty good chip that he gets, but nobody ever puts a body on 55 after he touches him. So there's no point. Um, like it just doesn't make any sense because also then you watch so Tunsil, like you said, maybe he just never sees him because he doesn't even look outside. He completely
Yeah, he's
is
not
turned
peeking at all.
inside.
No.
And then, but he's so turned that also like Gary probably is supposed to stunt inside, but he ends up coming all the way around because there's no left tackle there. So and then you got Juice falling over. It's just, I mean, it's just so bad. And this is
Uh,
legit the first three third downs of the game, by the way. We're three third downs in, and every single one of them has been a total disaster. Let's see what this one is. Oh my God. And this is another one where I'm watching it. Okay, well, this was another frustrating one because again, this is I don't understand what Tunsil's trying to accomplish here. He when the ball is snapped, well, okay, I'll pause it here because why is he so inside? He gets a hand on 90, but he knows 55 is rushing, and then he doesn't get back. It doesn't make any sense. He
yeah,
knows that the edge is coming. They don't need, like, again, you're fine numbers wise. You have two guys here. Why is he helping inside? You have numbers.
and I mean, honestly, the one thing I can think of is maybe he just feels vulnerable to stunts at this point, to where he thinks that 90 is gonna chip
Yeah, they're
him,
gonna stunt.
and,
Yeah.
and, and think the 55 is gonna come in, and that's a mental thing right there. Like if you're a
Yeah.
golfer and you hit a bad tee shot, you need to shake that shit off. If they run a stunt on you and you get beat, shake it off. Go back there and do your job and use your awareness and your peripherals and understand that you need to get a little bit wider and still maybe protect, get ready for the stunt, but to overcompensate, like if you overcompensate on your golf swing for a slice,
Yeah.
you're gonna hit a draw. So that's exactly what Tunsil did right there. And it got him stuck. He got him stuck in that spot. He gets beat around the edge and I mean, he's there's no way he's gonna be able to get hands on 55 from where he
No,
is.
I mean, there's just no shot. The again, what's frustrating to me is you watch this, they have the numbers set up. It's a fun.
Yeah.
Titus has 52. Dare's got 45. Shaq Mason's got Clark here. And then there's a stunt coming with 56 and 90. So Kenyon should pick up 56, Juice should pick up 90. It's not that hard. It's like obviously it's easier for me to watch and be like,
Of
that's what you should
course,
do.
of
But
course. This is
as
it's
a
hard.
pro offensive line, it's not that difficult. Why it doesn't,
Yeah.
and honestly, the rest of the line does a fine job picking it up. They pick up the stunt well.
Good.
I
Kenyon
mean,
Green actually got
they actually
56.
picked it up.
Juice got
But
90 because he shaded towards him, and T Titus is holding up on the edge. Dare is actually doing a good job too. I'm glad they
yeah, like
trust him
they
with
did
pass
a
pro
fine
there.
job picking this up. Because the thing is like more than likely, if Stroud is not rushed here, he probably just hits Hutchinson. It's like a 3rd and 8. He could at least get some yards here. You could get a field goal. Um, like why I can't understand. This is one of the ones where I was talking about earlier, where it almost seems like he just doesn't trust Kenyon like whatsoever. And it's like you don't need to help here. You have the numbers to pick it up, and it's picked up. But he just doesn't even like. I mean, he just doesn't get a hand on him until he's pretty much in the backfield. Stroud actually makes him miss, but there's no real shot because he has to step up into the pressure that's coming. And like I said, the rest of the offensive line, like Dare doesn't. I mean, it's a linebacker. Like he actually he's working his ass off
Oh
there.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
everyone else does their job, but I just don't understand because I have a hard time believing Tunsil is just going rogue with going inside like that. Like I would assume that because Titus actually, we'll get to it. Titus does it later in the game too. He does the exact same thing. So I don't understand. Either it's a coaching thing or these guys are just straight up going rogue, which I don't understand.
Yeah, they could be told to help a little bit inside. That's fair. I mean, that's an adjustment that could have been made, overcompensated for the past
Yeah.
weeks, and yeah, that's concerning. People are calling for Kenny Green, people are calling for Chris Strausser. Blame's being placed on Slowick. For I would say all three of those are fair too, but something has to change. That's why I keep saying I want to see someone do it again. I dare someone to do this again and see what happens to the Texans offensive line.
Yeah. And then this one, it's another one of those basic stunts that, I mean, how many times this year have we seen a stunt come at Kenyon Green and the guy just blows him up? Like, I mean, it happens way too often where a stunt will come, you just lower your shoulder at Kenyon and he goes flying. Like, he never, I mean, and Juice doesn't do a great job either. Like, it's a communication thing on both of them. At least Juice ends up getting the body on 97, but like Kenyon is just pushed completely to the side. He doesn't even, that's a linebacker. He's a big ass guard and he's like just getting completely pushed. It's just so bad. And okay, again, I like the fact that they're chipping on the outside. We talked about that earlier in the year. I actually can appreciate the fact that they're trying to chip, but it doesn't matter when your interior offensive line plays like this. There's two, I mean, it's a stunt and neither of them get picked up. So it's just, I don't know.
The worst part about this for us, Jacob, is that guy was picking on Stroud's EPA and all that shit from
Yeah, he
last
was,
week, and
yeah.
hey, now it's gonna be gotta be real bad.
Yeah. He had a rough EPA this week. I did check. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like to me, I think when you look at people actually get mad because I use the advanced stats so much. I use like PFF and the advanced stats. So I
Almost stick to the
understand those stats.
film.
I use the stats, right?
Yeah,
So I can understand why they're used. But if you just turn on the game, or even if you just look at the success rate or anything the Texans have offensively, it's not Stroud. Like it's so obvious, right? And like, and so that's just kind of where I'm at. I could care less about what the some of the advanced stats say because it's blatantly obvious that it's not Stroud's fault. And okay, this one's on Stroud to me, and I think
oh
because
yeah,
he
you know
just feels
why?
rushed.
You know why? Because he missed the whole shot.
Yeah, no, I mean Mechie has this, and unfortunately, he doesn't see it, or I think he just honestly, I think the whole game he just felt rushed, which I
This
think
is
was
a
tough.
one-step drop though. So
Just get it out. Yeah. I don't know.
yes, but they shouldn't have allowed it to be that because you should always imagine the possibility of hitting a hole shot.
Yeah.
And then we see that a lot in the NFL. When you got a good quarterback like CJ Stroud too, that should be in the back of your mind that what if, this is third down? What if they do bite on the flats like they do here? We want our quarterback to be able to hit the hole shot for the big gain as well. And I'm looking at the time. The problem with the timing is I'm not actually sure he misses the whole shot.
Yeah.
Because if we can try to pause it when CJ gets into his windup, so not there, but there. That's when Jai. Okay, so he hitches.
Yeah.
He hitches, and then maybe he feels some pressure. So, but right there, he could throw the whole shot because then Jair is not going to be able to flip his hips. So, yeah,
No.
right there, would say that it's on the Stroud. Now we are pausing it. So, it gets a little tricky with timing. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And we can I mean this was legitimately the first third down of the game where there was not a guy in his face within the first and 5 seconds of the game. I think he just was sped up this game, so he's just trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly, which I can understand. But this is one in a normal situation where you expect Stroud to make this throw because Jair's night never even really looks. He kind of turns here, but I mean at this point, if this is a touchdown if he throws it, so
right.
it's a miss. It happens.
Not even a whole shot. That's just Jair playing too aggressive. Let's cover three. So,
Yep.
uh, And then the offensive line, I mean, it's fine because it's a, four-man pressure. Actually, no,
Yep.
20 comes in.
Yeah, this is a good job though. Daria does a good job with Gary here actually, on the stunt. But
I
that's a
don't
pretty
like it
good
being
job.
done that way because Juice is able to help Dare, so that Gary can't just overwhelm him with a bull rush too. Mm. So I mean that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's a fine protection there. All right. Next play. Another sack. Oh, I think I remember this one. Well, Thompson went early. That should have been a false start, but either way, it doesn't make a difference. All right, let's watch it from this angle. Let's see. Another stunt. Let's
Yeah, it
see.
looks like it could have been on Dare. The screen did skip on me a little bit, yeah. So
Let's see. Let
I'm not sure
me.
what Juice is doing.
Yeah, this is on juice to me, I think. But
Yeah.
again, this is another one where it's two guys. It's Juice and Dare. You know who the two guys at fault are, whoever you want to blame. But you could easily go in the film room and say these are the two guys that messed up. Um, figure that stuff out. Because honestly, everyone else does not really. I take it back. There was pressure there from other guys too. Um,
Yeah, I mean, Titus isn't being physical enough there at
yeah,
all.
neither. I
It
mean, neither is
seems
Tunsil.
he gets in his chest like that. He's not able to anchor down. And I said this a couple weeks ago. It's just sometimes just about physicality. It's about your
Yeah,
attitude, the tone of football that you play with, and they don't have that right now. You can make all the jokes you want about, oh, there's going to be some white offensive linemen on the Texans next year, but hopefully there's some different offensive linemen on the Texans next year that are just more
yeah,
physical, because we see teams like the Lions nowadays that are so damn physical. The 49ers, they seem to do a good job with that, really, regardless of who's on the offensive line. And then you're gonna see the Chargers, the Hardball era. It's gonna be a lot of physicality, but Texans don't have that. They're all finesse. I saw someone say that too. They really are all finesse at this point.
oh, the video play. There we go. No, there's issues like it seems like a lot of it's mentality problems to me because I've kind of talked about this, but a lot of times you see like we're just going to like the 2 point conversion Texans have. Like a lot of times when you need a yard, like or 2 yards, however long, I think it was one because they got the penalty. You need a single yard. Like if an offensive line doesn't get any push there, they come off the field real disappointed. I don't ever see that from our offensive line. Like they walk off like I mean it was a success. I'm like, dude, you all you got to do is push. It's like it's not. I don't know. And then, but also the thing that I find kind of funny is that they apparently won't have CJ Stroud sneak anymore because of the whole like injury last year. But it's like you're getting him killed the entire game anyways. Why the hell are you not throwing him in the pile? Like let's go get the 2 points at this point because he's getting hit the entire game no matter what. I mean, he's
Yeah, and
taking
also, yeah, the Dave Portnoy video,
yeah, nobody comes over.
no one
Yeah.
helped him on the sidelines after the hits. That's weird.
Yeah.
They did help him last year in Denver during that fight almost started. But
Yeah,
no,
there's problems with the mentality of the offensive line, and to me, you could blame that on whoever you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw some blame on Laramie Tunsil because he's the highest paid guy, he's the captain. At some point, like
yeah, they
people are
follow
gonna
him.
kind of people are gonna look to you with how you act,
Yeah,
and if you
exactly.
don't act with physicality and you don't act with that, then why the hell would anyone else do that? Um, well, in this
Great way
one,
to put it.
this is a basic rush, and Kenyon just. I mean, just gets beat
Yeah,
off the
from a
snap.
technique standpoint, his hands have been really wide. Even his feet are just really, really, really wide too, actually.
Yeah.
Look at that right there. You see, all right, so look at Shaq Mason. Where the hell is my pen from last weekend? Remember?
Oh, I think
Uh,
it's. Wait, can I actually? Oh, wait, I can actually. Wait, can you see
oh, I
that?
got it. Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
actually
okay.
can draw
So
on it too.
yeah, okay. So there's Kenyon Green's feet.
Yeah.
And there's Shaq Mason's feet. I mean, that's good width by Titus. Tunsil, he can do whatever he wants in pass pro. But look how much wider you could double that size or double the size of Shaq Mason's feet width, and it still wouldn't be as wide as Kenyon Green. And then, not to
No.
mention, I don't even know where Kenyon's right hand is, but I think that that's Kenyon Green's left hand. And what are you trying to get out of that? You can't just
So
punch their
bad.
shoulder. You have to get their
No.
chest. You have to get your feet in the ground and anchor up. You have to get ready to counter. You're not going
Well,
to be able
his
to do that when your feet are that wide.
yeah, and like you said, his feet are so wide, and he's push or his hand placement is off center. All you got to do is swim right. I mean, like if you
Just
make
mirror
any
him.
move to the if you make any move to the middle of the field, it's easy because his balance is all to the left. It's so bad. Wait, can you see the circle that I drew over
Yeah.
Mason? Okay,
All you gotta do is flip the text.
I didn't know that I could draw too. That works out. Let me change the color of that. All right, and then let's see. Can I get out of that? There we go. How do we? Sometimes these videos will just not start. Let's see.
Yeah.
There we go.
NFL Pro.
Yeah,
It's not the greatest.
it's a cool idea, but they're still working
Could
out
be better.
some kinks with it. Yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah.
oh God, this is the exact same thing. This is what I was complaining about. Also, like awesome throw, awesome catch. But why is I just don't understand this. Okay, here, I'm gonna get my
Believe
pen
that,
out on this
yeah.
one.
I believe Titus, this was on
Yeah,
Titus.
it is. But it's again, okay, hold on, let me get my pen out because it's the same issue I have with Tunsil on the other play. Wwhy?
Right there. Like
Why is
your
he?
head,
Yeah,
your
why
head is
is he?
looking right there.
You
How are you gonna
have,
get out there?
yeah, you have, like, again, you have Dare right here. That you got that, right? Like, obviously, running back, linebacker, you're probably not going to win that. But you can't leave Gary unblocked over here. You can't do that, especially when you have this route coming across to the right side. He can't make Stroud couldn't make this throw from the pocket because Gary's crashing down. It doesn't make any sense. You have this picked up. You get Tunsil here. You got Kenyon here. If a stunt comes or if this guy's coming, you got Juice. You got Mason here. You got the running back. You have this. Why is he inside? It doesn't make any sense. It
It
just
doesn't. And
it
I'm
doesn't
just
make
gonna
any
leave it at that
sense.
because it's just pretty wild.
I
But
just can't understand why he's inside here because
it has to be an
look,
instruction. That's
yeah,
really all I can think of.
because like you said, with the one with Tunsil, it's almost like you could have just forgotten about him. But when it happens multiple times in the same game, I think it's a coaching point to go help out the inside. But I don't understand why you would help out the inside if you're gonna leave this guy unblocked. It doesn't make any sense. If you want like it'd be confusing, but if you want Titus blocking the inside guy, then just have Dore block the outside guy or try to like just cut block him, right?
Block
Like,
someone.
yeah, but like at this point, this guy just doesn't get touched. And it happened multiple times. And that's the like, okay, again, you're not leaving the linebacker unblocked. This is the Green Bay Packers' best pass rusher. He's their best pass rusher on the team. Why is he coming unblocked? It doesn't make any sense. It and again, you're not like booting. It's not like when you boot and you leave the edge on block. This is a straight shotgun drop, and you're just like leaving. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's simple stuff like that that it doesn't make any sense, and I can't grasp the idea behind it.
Not at all. I mean, I think it's an instruction.
Yeah, I do
But
too.
we also, we're not super high on Tunsil and Titus's mentality
No.
that they have at times.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they're just going rogue either. I do think it's coaching, but could I would like that would not shock me if the two tackles are just going rogue sometimes. Um, but I just like I don't understand because at any level of football, like you're never gonna be like let's turn inside and leave the edge rusher on block. It just doesn't make any sense because it's not like it's on purpose that they're trying to leave this guy on block. when you think about it, because he's just trying to help inside and get back outside. But you can't get, I mean, there's no shot of him getting back outside when he's that far inside. Like, what are you going to do at this point? What are you going to do?
Ain't nothing you can do.
There's a five-man pass rush with six blocking. How is there a guy free? How is the edge rusher free? That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't like uh, the okay. Granted, like some guys from the inside, I can get you get a really good blitz. Sometimes these guys from the inside can come free. Edge rushers don't come free. You have tackles. Like that's their job to go block the edge rusher. It's like, and it's not like Green Bay does anything special here because, like we've talked about, they've thrown stunts, they've done weird blitzes. You just look at it pre-snap. You have okay. There's what five guys that look like they're coming. Maybe this guy, but more than likely, right? You have boom. You got these two guys to block him. You have right here, you got this, and you got Schultz chipping right here, and then you got Titus here. Why is he inside? It just doesn't make sense. It's simple. Like if this is coaching, I would honestly, like you're saying, maybe I'll have to make a tweet. We're gonna see if we can get an offensive line coach on here because I can't understand
Yeah.
what the idea is. I can't understand
Someone
it.
obviously didn't execute, so you
Yeah,
know,
for sure. I mean,
it's not this isn't CJ Stroud's fault. You know, it's
no.
nothing like that. Like, look, someone messed up. We don't exactly know who. There's a lot of possibilities could be on Titus and his mentality, wanting to, make sure that his buddy inside doesn't, whatever. But someone messed up, and we just showed how many clips? 10, right?
This is
Have been
10,
happening
yeah.
continuously over and over and over again. And man, that is just crazy. That we had to watch that. We had to watch that for the second time right now. I mean, geez.
Yeah,
This is why, yeah, wow.
I just can't understand why you would ever come inside to help on a linebacker when you're blocking the edge. It just I can't understand what the idea is here. Like I said, I get it on some boots. People get mad about it. Like when you leave it like their best pass rusher unblocked on a boot. But it's like that's the design of the play. You're supposed to boot out. You slide it. Like here, you're not sliding anything. It's a straight five-man rush against six blocking. Why is he so inside? Like, if anything, you'd rather the pressure to come, you know, you'd rather be able to see it than like Stroud. He sees it, but at some point, it's like this guy's just coming in free, man. He's got a free shot, and like Stroud, like again, there's multiple times in this game where Stroud's lucky to see the guy because if you don't see this guy at all, which I mean he does, he makes a really good play. Like, I'm sure we'll watch it here. Like this is a really good job, obviously, and this is a
Yeah,
unbelievable
I like
throw.
really just the where he placed the ball. The speed didn't really matter. It was just more of placement.
Yeah.
Hutchinson was able to trap it. It's nice. He's also Hutchinson is able to adjust, track the ball too. You see him come back for it a little bit. As long as it's past the sticks, it was going to be fine. They needed a first down, and they did that.
Okay,
Uh,
so how many are actually rushing? So you get one, two, three. So it's a 6 versus 6. So this guy ends up coming. But what's funny is the rest of the offensive line does their job, right? Like not perfectly because I think Juice's feet are too wide here. Like it's not perfect, right?
that's really why. Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
I mean, you just look at it like at least you got a body here, you got a body here, you got a body here, you got this. Why? I mean, it just like this is right here. It doesn't make any sense because honestly, Hutchinson's open right here. If this is a clean pocket, you put the ball right here, he's got room to run upfield. But you
Yeah.
can't because
Touchdown.
the pocket's not clean and he's having to make a play. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm actually interested. I'm probably gonna post this clip on Twitter after this. Just a little like little 2 minute clip because I want this to be out there because it's so unbelievable that it's like it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I don't see any other team having this issue.
No, it
I
doesn't
don't get it.
exist.
I don't get it.
Nobody else has this problem. It just,
Uh,
oh man. All right. I know we wanted to go into some other stuff. We spent a lot of time on that, but we can definitely go into some other stuff too. I know you wanted to talk about
Oh my
um and then this play you get Tank just dropping the
God.
ball.
Drop. Tank drop. Yeah. I still see people saying that Tank does not having a good year. You're right. Statistically, he's not having a good year. And then stuff like that happens. But the offense in general is just not a fluid
No,
operation.
no.
Like,
No,
well,
not at
last
all.
year it was. So I'm not gonna say anything bad about Tank. That you have to catch it. Like, that's a very fair point. You do have to catch the ball. But
Yeah.
other than that, that's really it's just not a fluid operation. If you
Oh
watch those
God.
last nine clips, like you can see that it's not a fluid operation.
Yeah. And then this, like, again, I think it's wrong to blame Titus for this, but like, who has this issue where you step on the foot of your tackle and he falls? Who else does this happen to? I mean, like, again, and this is another one where like you watch Dalton Schultz and he turns around after the play and he's like confused at what happened. I'm like, dude, you stepped on his foot. It's your fault. Why are you stepping on? Oh my God. It's just like it's
And
simple stuff that they do poorly.
yeah,
It's
this
so
happens at
bad.
that point. Just bad luck, maybe. I don't know.
Like, let's see. I want to see Dalton Schultz's reaction because I don't know if he does it here, but he seems to always throw his hands up in the air like he didn't do anything wrong on plays where it clearly was his fault. No, he's just kind of watching. So, but it's just frustrating that like that's a continuous problem. And then this is actually all right, this one was pretty good play call if I'm not wrong. I don't, not this play. It's just not going to go to the next one. But this was probably their best drive of the game. And then third and six, Dalton Schultz didn't block anybody. But
Yeah, exactly. Too many plays that just derail the drive. It's
yeah,
just that's why it was so hard watching. There's times when they just got stuffed in the run game. Getting 1 yard, -2, 2 yards, -1 yard. It's just sad stuff. That's
yeah,
where I am more on the side of just bench Kenyon Green because, like I said, like if it wasn't effective beforehand, how could it get worse? Just to maybe see someone else in the run game too, to have more consistency. Because while Kenyon Green, like when we're on the goal line and Mixon ran it in, he had two good blocks in a row on that drive. But other
yeah,
than
yeah.
that,
No, I mean he has some good
assists.
blocks, but there
Yeah,
was one. I actually haven't seen it on all 22, but it was a third down run for Dare, and I mean he just whiffed on his block. Let's see. I think it's this one. I mean, like like I said, I think he gets the reputation of a good run blocker because he's a good run blocker at A&M, but he hasn't been a good run blocker in the NFL. For the most part. He has some good blocks, but like, I mean, he's lucky Dare picks this up. But I mean, like, you just let the guy. He didn't even touch
yeah,
him.
that's one of the plays where it's just embarrassing. Like that you can't allow that to happen to yourself. Like, it really comes down to that. You're ducking your head, you're looking around, you're missing your
Yeah.
punches.
Yeah, I mean, I said the other day that I feel like a lot of times you see Kenyon's game plan in like the run game or different, short yardage things, and it's like he just ducks his head and hopes for the best. It's like that legit feels like the strategy a lot of the time. It's bad hand placement. He just closes his eyes, pushes forward with his head down like this. It's like it's like he's like a running back that like you're trying to get 4 yards, so you just start running forward. It's like there's no fundamental here. He's just like
You
ducks
can't
his
duck your
head.
head. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what you can't do. And that's the sad part. I don't really know why that kink is still going on. That's like the number one rule, I'm pretty sure, what not to do as an offensive lineman. And yet he does it every game. He does it multiple times. He does it in the pass pro. He does it in the run game. And then he just flashes moments of not having enough strength, not being able to stay balanced, poor hand placement, like you said. There's just not many positives, and that's why I don't understand why there's any point in keeping him in. If there's no good flashes, then what are you waiting for when
Yeah.
it's
No,
hurting your team?
that's exactly what I'm saying. And people have been critical of Juice, and I think he's had some rough back to back kind of rough games. But you've also seen good things from Juice. You've seen good run blocking. You've seen good pass protection. While he struggles, he's shown good things, and it's his seventh game ever starting at center in the NFL. Kenny has started 20 games at left guard. I don't know if he's had like one good game. What are we waiting on? I mean, it's like at some point you just admit that you were wrong. And what's frustrating about this play too is you just look at it from this angle, like everyone else makes their block, man. Like you have a ton of room here, but Kenyon completely whiffs. I mean, like good block here, good job here, good job here, good job here, good job here. Like actually I think that's Schultz. Actually a good block on the outside. You have this blocked. But I mean, like again, it's a 3rd and 2. You're lucky you don't lose 3 yards. I mean, you're very lucky you don't lose 3 yards. Dari does a good job of just making the guy miss, but you should have lost yards, and that's why when people I saw today, what's her name, the
Nina
ESPN
Kimes.
girl, yeah, like she was talking about the Texans' run game, and yes, their like yards per carry are fine. The problem is that their success rate is 30th because they're they're going backwards on a lot of like early downs where like they have some big runs. They have some nice 15, 20 yard runs. The run game is better. But the problem is that consistently they go backwards more than almost any team in the NFL is the problem. Because of stuff like this where you just whiff and like I said, Dare, good job by him, makes that guy miss. But it should be a loss. And Dare just kind of makes up for it.
Like exactly, man. I'm sick of watching Kenyon Green film at this point. It's the best
Yeah,
way
it's
for
it's
me to
pretty
put it.
brutal. Yeah, I don't really understand how people can defend him at this point. It's pretty bad. I mean, like I said, I don't think he's the only issue, but I mean, he's far from. And that was one. That's the one where we talk about that video clip. Like, I mean, it's just bizarre to me that. Okay, hold on, it's frozen. But it's bizarre that you don't see more like energy from the offensive line. Like he gets hit on the sideline. Like it shouldn't. I don't think it should have been a flag, but he does get hit by this guy. Kind of sticks his shoulder out, and like they're just. I mean,
Yeah, my problem is the way that the Packers players are getting in CJ's face. I want
yeah,
the
you
Texans to
get
see that and then everyone getting each other's face. That's what I want to
you get
see.
you get Jair right here. I mean, Jair was talking shit the whole game, right? I mean,
How
he
does
didn't stop
Malcolm
talking the entire
Lee?
game. And then this is another one too, I think. Or no, maybe it was not a 3rd down where he runs second, maybe. Yeah, this one. Where this is another example of like, I mean, this is a hard hit too on the sideline. He takes a big hit here. One right there, another one. And I mean, look, Pierce is coming over, like good on Pierce. But where's the offensive line? I mean, and then they don't even show it in the all 22, but
Retired.
he gets up. I mean, Jair gets up, right? And Stroud's actually like
Yeah, I don't
pointing at it,
really
and
know
like
why Jair is even celebrating though. First down, buddy. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
yeah, but once Jair gets in his face like that and he takes his hit, right? Like, why is Pierce the only guy from this group that actually makes an
Yeah,
effort to
yeah,
come over?
yeah.
Like, and what is Pierce gonna do? I'm not that's like I know Pierce is a physical guy. What is he gonna do? He's like 5'9", 100, 200. Like, what is he gonna do? Right? Like, you watch it. I mean, I like if something were to go down with your quarterback, you didn't protect him all game to begin with, so you probably should go over there and help the guy up. But
And then CJ
also,
also slammed his helmet down on the sideline.
like, look, he takes the hit, right?
Brilliant.
Takes his hit. They are watching.
Yeah.
Juice is like looking at it. He throws his hand up in the air. He ain't going over to go help him up. They're all just watching. It's a mentality problem, especially when you didn't protect him the entire game. You for 4 quarters you let the defense tee off, and then when he goes and gets a 1st down, is doing everything by himself. You don't even make an effort to go over there and help him out. Like it's just it's bad. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Okay, any place you want to get into? Because I was going to go over some defense. I just I had to we had to rant about that offensive line and the simple film like that because that's a big talking point. So
Yeah, You can go over defense. I did see your tweet about Derek Stingley during the game.
Yeah,
Do
he
you
had
want
a bad game.
to share? Yeah, share your thoughts on that.
I look, and I'm a big Stingley fan. I'm not saying Stingley has played poorly. That's a misconception that people are like making. That I'm like, I don't think Stingley's played bad. I don't think he's had a bad year, but I do think that at some point, like he seems to give up inside leverage a lot, which and last week the touchdown we talked about it, I think he's trying to shade a pick. He's trying to undershade it and jump it and try to get a pick, which I don't have an issue with in a normal setting, but also understand the situation where you have 40 seconds left in the half. Don't get beat down the sideline, dude. Do not get beat down the sideline. And he does. So look, I think he's been a top 15, 20 corner in the NFL. I'm not saying he's played poorly, but I am saying that I don't think he's been like locked down. Like, I mean, we saw during training camp, like DJ Bieniemy was talking about him like he was Darrelle Revis, and he's not played like that. That's kind of what I'm hitting
That's
at,
fair.
right? And I think a lot of times I know I overreact during games, but I do think
It's
he's
awesome to watch.
I mean, I know I do it. I admit to doing it, but I also do believe what I said. I think he's been disappointing for a guy that was hyped up to be a lockdown corner. I think he's been good, but there's also been plays where his passer rating when targeted looks better than it is. Because I got back to that Indy game, boy, he was getting beat a couple times and Richardson just missed. So um, he's still like good player. I don't have any concerns about Stingley moving forward, but I haven't like let's see. Let's go to some of these where I think he just continuously gets beat on these kind of slant routes. And so let's see. Can I sort by like if targeted? That'd be pretty cool.
I
I don't know if I
wish.
can. Yeah, I don't think you can.
That's something they should
Um,
do.
yeah, that would be really cool if they could do that. But like here, 2nd and 7, right? And I just I would like to see him kind of try to take the middle of the field away because it's not just like one time a game. It happens a couple times a game where he gets beat to the inside. Um, but like I said, I'm not complaining about him. I think he's played well, but I just expect a little bit more out of him. Maybe that's me because I did see some of the replies to that tweet were like, "Well, you're the only person that called him a lockdown corner to begin with," and I'm like, I don't think that's true, right? Like sure, I hype him up because I
That
expect
plays
more
out.
out of the guy. And if you have a problem with me expecting more out of the guy, I think he would tell you that he expects more out of himself. So that's the only real complaint that I have. And like I said, great cornerback. I'm not complaining about him in that sense. I just think that I expected a little bit more from what you're getting, and that's not a bad thing. If anything, that just goes to show you that I expect a lot out of him, which, again, if you don't expect a lot out of the guy, then you're different than me, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But again, it's like here, I don't really know if this I don't remember this one, but I know this is like a slant route. This isn't really his fault because it's just a curl, but there were a couple that he got beat on the inside like that. It's not the end of the world. I mean, Green Bay's got some good receivers, loves a good quarterback. Not the end of the world to get beat like that. But I just was a little bit disappointed. That's all. Um,
That's
and
fair. That's
yeah,
fair. I would say that a lot of the times in the secondary, it's going to be a leverage kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
some coverage
for
kind
sure.
of thing. So I would love to see man on man reps. We just haven't
Yeah,
really
just
seen that
no, it
yet.
doesn't
I'm
happen a
not
lot.
sure if they really
I
ever. We
think,
did see that in the playoffs, though. So we'll
yeah,
see.
and I think it's tough. Like this week, I can understand. I even, I'm critical of the defensive play calling from time to time. I even went out on record and said, right, I thought
Oh,
this was the best game
yeah.
D'Amico Ryans called as defensive coordinator of the Texans. And I stand on that. I don't care how the last drive went. I stand on that.
Oh,
He
yeah.
called a amazing game because they were undermanned multiple different levels and you forced three turnovers. You kept the offense in the game. It was an unbelievable performance from that defense. So I don't want like, and I don't want people to think that I'm like blaming Stingley for them losing because that was not what I was doing at all. I was just straight up being like, and like you said, I think he's more of a man corner, but you can't play man. Like you saw it. It was tough to
No,
play
it's
man with
just
the linebackers that you had and D'Angelo Ross at the other corner spot. It just wasn't a really viable option for this game. So I don't have any issue with how Stingley necessarily played. I just am expecting him to play better going forward. And I think he's had a little bit of a rough start to the year because I thought the Chicago game too, DJ Moore was kind of cooking him a little bit. I know he had that pick later on, but Moore was kind of getting him a little bit. So it's just um it's simple things like that. I think Stingley kind of plays too risky sometimes, and it works out because he gets picks off of it, but he kind of gambles a little bit, which I don't know, like I said, don't necessarily have an issue with. But I do think when, at least for him, like if I'm coaching, I'd almost be like, when you have D'Angelo Ross on their side, don't gamble as much as you do, dude. Just play your coverage. Like we don't need you to try to force all these turnovers. Just play good coverage so they don't throw at you because the other side's going to get thrown at no matter what happens. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that. But I don't have any issue with that. And you know, I think the defense played a really good game. I think the pass rush kind of showed out. Um, Will Anderson had another good game. Hunter had a good game. Tim Settle had a hell of a game, man. That dude was playing his ass off.
You can look at
Tim
him.
Settle had a really
Are we
good
able to,
game.
we could sort by player right there for Tim
Yeah,
Settle, maybe.
yeah, yeah. He had a really, really good game. And I think we actually talked about um we talked about
Say
what
his
was it?
next step.
How
But
last
other
week
than
we talked about how people wanted to make moves for the Texans, and we talked about how it didn't make sense for the Texans to move Jalen Peter out of the nickel. This is why it doesn't make sense. He had a spectacular game. He's very good in the nickel. You lack a little bit in coverage, but also he forced the pick that Neville Hewitt had at the beginning of the game. So it's just kind of I don't really understand why people are like talking about trying to move. What's also funny is you look back at that video, we were complaining about Devin White, but here we are. So um, it came full circle on us, I guess. But he sucks, man. I'm
yeah,
so
so people get to cry for, oh, we want Devin White, and they also get to say that we need a nickel. I mean, this isn't fair for us, Jacob. I really don't get it. I don't think they even knew that Petrie was playing specifically in the nickel. Maybe they didn't really understand that.
yeah.
That it was just it's zone coverage, and people are open in zone coverage. Sometimes we'll actually need a new nickel. Like,
No. And
how many
and
times do you
you know,
see
and
yardage get allowed by the outside cornerbacks, even in the NFL? I mean, maybe L'Jarius Sneed. I've heard he's not having a very good year, but come on. The yardage gained in the NFL is in the middle of the field. That's how it works.
yep. And like you said, stuff happens, man. Like players get beat. Like Jalen Petre is not the only guy in nickel cornerback history to get beat by a guy. Like I mean, it happens, and it's the same thing when I'm watching. Granted, I didn't think Eric Murray had a great week, but man, he had like two back-to-back bad plays on a drive, and people were talking about like sending him to Guantanamo Bay. I'm like, he's not bad. I don't understand why
But this
people
was his
hate
worst
him
game of the
so
year.
much.
To
Yeah.
be
Oh,
fair,
he
it was his
100%
worst
was.
game of the
No, I
year.
mean he did not play that well. And I was even saying he didn't play that well. But I just don't understand why, like, man, they really hate that guy. Like, people really don't like that guy. Um,
I
and
think
this is
the clip
it's a
froze on you there, but it looks like Settle
yeah,
kind of was able
it's a
to
good
keep his
play. He
balance
got
and rip
a
through and.
really good play.
Look how he gets his arm up. I love that. I really don't
Yeah.
even think there's like a specific move for that. It's just
No.
sheer strength. He's
Yeah,
able to
he just
get his
powered him.
arm right through there. I mean, look, not many defensive linemen um,
Well,
can
Folu
do that.
Folu originally gets here, and your guy Andrew Beck saves the play here.
You got
But
Andrew Beck is on the Packers.
yeah, that's him
Oh,
right there,
that's
47 right here.
hilarious. Oh, they
That's
clearly
him.
didn't utilize him enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he wasn't returning kicks for them.
Exactly.
Um,
Returning kicks,
no,
catching passes, running the ball. I mean, blocking.
but no, that's a really good play. Like I said, like you said, I mean, there's two guys there, and he just overpowers
He
them.
like a lot of defense linemen in that scenario will just get washed and get pancaked, pushed 5, 10 yards down the
Yeah.
field.
Oh
But
yeah.
after 3 yards, he's able to put his foot in the ground and get his arm through and make a play. So I really like that. And look, he's the pass rushing prowess. The thing that he didn't
He's a pass
really have
rusher.
in
Yeah.
his bag.
Yeah.
Now you see that too. Where's the other angle of that pass rush
I don't
line?
know. So I was gonna say, I don't
That's
know
not
why it
fair. I don't even
skipped.
know. I want to see what kind of movie put on him.
Let's see. Let's see. All right. Let's see if it goes. There's just no second angle of it.
Here
Oh,
we
here
go.
we go.
Here we go.
Okay.
I mean, there were some highlights from pass rushing in Buffalo, but that's just, and that's really not, again, not much of a move per se.
Yeah.
Just kind of, his feet look pretty good. He's able to get vertical eventually,
Yeah, I
but
mean, he just
keep
it
your
just looks
balance
it looks
too.
smooth. It looks smooth
Yeah,
there.
smooth.
It's not a big move, but it looks smooth on
Yeah, a
on the
big thing
film.
for defensive linemen is their coordination. If they can stay
Yeah,
balanced, they're
yeah.
flexible, and Tim Settle has shown that, and he shows it a lot in this
This was a
game.
really good play.
And
That's
then,
a really
right?
good play.
And
That's
then
not an easy play to diagnose
exactly,
when you're in that type of
that was crazy.
yeah,
That was
this is an unbelievable play by him because I don't know how. Granted, he kind of gets through it, kind of, so he just assumes. But when you're in that kind of like, let's see, when you're in here, I'm gonna pause it. When you're in like this area, it's pretty hard to tell what's going on. But he does
he
a
figures
really
it
good.
out.
I mean, he almost picked it, which is the funny part. He could have picked that. He was pretty close to picking that ball off, which is the funny part. But no, this is a really good play. He had a really good game. They have legitimately four defensive tackles when Edwards comes back, and then or and Autry too, if you count him, that can play at a really high level.
Yeah, and also I just want to, I guess, kind of ask you this. You saw some people talking about the rotation. What are your thoughts on the
Mhm.
rotating of not only
So
the tackles but also
yeah,
the
yeah.
edge?
So I for the defensive tackles, I don't care. Rotate as much as you want. But for
Mhm.
me, I would like to see at least one of Hunter and Anderson on the field at all times, and then you can kind of swap like that. Now, I don't necessarily have a big issue now that they have Autry back because I think Autry in the second unit like kind of saves it. You know, he's a good player, so he makes it a lot easier to sub like that. But I don't like when sometimes, especially on rundowns, when they take both of them off the field because I
They're great
think
run
your run
stoppers.
defense
That's the sad
suffers,
part. They're
especially without
really,
Anderson.
really good run stoppers.
Yeah.
They're
So
great.
that's the only thing. It's not a big complaint now, especially because I think they're deeper last year. I had a bigger issue last year when they took Anderson Grenard off the field before they had Barnett, because then
Yeah.
it would be like Horton
It,
and
yeah, Myjai Sanders was out there on the
yeah, I'm
run
like,
down saying be bad.
I
You can
liked
run
Majay
from
Sanders as a
Myjai's
pass
side.
rusher. I liked him as a pass rusher, but his run defense was horrible. And I couldn't and same with Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes could not defend the run. So I think it's a lot easier this year because I think the second unit of edge when it's Autry and Barnett, like that's a pretty good edge group. It's not like there's starting edge groups that have worse players than that. So,
Yeah, I like.
um, but the interior, like I said, there's legit four guys, and so any of those two guys I'm cool with. Like, and now I guess there's five with Heinisch. I forgot he's back. Um, I think Heinisch is kind of the worst out of all of them, if you want to know the truth. But like Davis, Heinisch, Settle, Folu, and I guess when Edwards comes back from suspension, all five of those guys can play. So I don't have any issue with you, however you want to rotate those guys. Just on rundowns, keep Folu on the field is kind of how I feel. But the rest, I don't really care.
Yeah, I would say I would like Autry at the end position as run stopper
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Barnett, not really like a flaw of his necessarily. So for me, I'm gonna stick to what is utilized and keeping them fresh. The
Yep.
mass subbing, I guess, is a little bit weird. Logic would suggest that maybe you should keep one of the two guys on the field at all times. You're probably right. But stamina wise, that wouldn't really make much sense because then they're always going to be separate from each other, if
Yep.
that makes sense, I guess. So I don't know. Obviously, Anderson's dealt with injuries throughout his career already. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure a
No, I
lot
mean
of
you don't want to overdo it, and I understand that, but I do think, just and granted, I think it's okay in the regular season, but in the playoffs, like I would be a little bit upset if they rotated as much as they're doing right now. And last year they didn't rotate as much in the playoffs. They kept and now both of their edges were hurt in the playoffs last year, so it was a little bit
yeah,
tougher. But you do have to keep Anderson and Hunter healthy. At the end of the day,
absolutely.
people can overreact to the Texans' loss, and it was an ugly loss. I don't really know what to make of them, but they're 5-2. They're probably going to make the playoffs, like more than likely. Especially like this is a big week just to kind of seal off the division. Like you could kind of keep Indy out of it if you beat them this week. So it's a
But
big
if you
week.
lose, like, what is the reaction, or what should the reaction be if they lose? To me, it's of course it's gonna be how they lose. If they
Yeah.
lose like how they lost to the Packers, then something
If
needs
they
to
lose
change.
because of the offensive line again, something I mean, people will be pissed because they should be. It's, I mean, like, and I don't think they're gonna lose, but um, I, you know,
I'm not
it
saying I
was
want them to lose, but
definitely.
I would like to see some changes, and this
Oh,
would
I
be an
would
eye
too.
opener. This would be
I
a more
hate,
like a
I hate the
yeah.
fact that they keep winning, so they're gonna sweep stuff under the rug. I hate it
And then they
because at
lose to
some
good
point,
teams, but they're
yeah,
not
and
really
then they
losing
act like
to the
it's
good
not
teams,
a
they're losing to
problem. Yeah,
themselves. Oh, we lost to
yeah,
the really good teams. We're gonna be just fine, guys. We lost by one
yeah.
point. We'll get it, guys. They're really good. That's not why you lost. It's
No,
not why you
yeah,
lost.
no, it's not. No, dude, Green Bay tried to hand you the game. I mean, like, legitimately, their offense tried to. Jordan Love single-handedly tried to hand you the game, and you still lost. So, um,
Uh,
no, I mean, there are problems with that team, but also, if anything, I will say now to back up that point, the best thing, and I will say this long term, the best thing that could have happened for them for this Green Bay game is that they lost because if they would have won, they would have acted like nothing was wrong. And now they can't do that because everyone's coming at them. You got the media coming at them. I mean, people are asking about the offensive line. Like, they can't hide the problem now because they lost because of it and Stroud played so poorly. They have to realize, they have to at least deal with the fact that people are going to ask about it. Because if they would have won, people would have been like, oh, they're 6-1, they're a contender. And I still think they are a contender, but they're 6-1. They just beat Green Bay. They beat Buffalo a couple weeks ago. This is a really good football team. When that's not the reality of the situation right now. They are a very good football team, but there's one position group and one area that's holding them back, and it's the pass protection from the running back, from the tight ends, and from the offensive line. So don't try to sweep it under the rug.
yeah.
Um,
A good way to look at it is like, okay, the Vikings Lions game. That was a great game. That
yeah,
was an awesome game. And what Vikings lost by 1 or 2 points. That's a great loss, even though it's at home. That's
yeah,
still a
yeah.
great loss. The Lions are
No,
a great football team. Now, we might be saying the same thing, and when we play them on Sunday Night Football,
yeah, yeah,
maybe we might get their ass, but we might get our asses kicked by the Lions because they are truly the best team in football, and they are physical, and they can
yeah.
really, really
Well,
mess and really
I do
mess with the
agree that the
momentum of the
Lions are
game.
the best team in football, but I will say that pass rush room without Aiden Hutchinson's pretty rough. They're gonna have to make a move there because that's a rough group. But
Yeah,
they
but
are
Jacob,
a
what are you going to
very
do
good
against the
team.
Texans? Just
Oh, just stop. No, against the Texans, it
they
doesn't
don't need a
matter. I just mean
pass
in general.
rusher.
I just mean in
They don't need
general.
a
Against the
pass
Texans, it don't matter
rusher.
what the hell you do. Again, Aleen McNeil will have 15 pressures coming from the
Oh
inside,
my
so it doesn't
gosh.
matter. But no, I mean, there are issues with the Texans, and um, like you said, they're 5-2. They don't feel like a 5-2 team
They
because they've
don't.
been able to make up for it. They've been able to make up for the offensive line problems. Is really the thing that they've done so far this year. But
Sad part is they can make the playoffs by just losing to better teams. They can just lose to the Lions, like maybe even the Jets,
yeah,
Ravens, Chiefs, and they're still in. Like they're
yeah,
in and they might just whatever. So
yeah,
they need to change the way that they play football, and stick to what they're good at while fixing the little things. Like go like we saw like today when we look at the offensive line, like it seems to be a little thing.
yeah.
Like
No, it's
you
not a
said, the two
huge, yeah.
culprits, you saw the two guys potentially where the mistake was being made. So look at the film room, look at that, but don't don't sweep it under the rug like you said too. No, I want to see them go out there and dominate the Colts. If it's a close win, how am I going to feel about this team if it's another close, ugly win? I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, I don't
I
know.
don't get
And
anything out of that, really, honestly. I don't get
I
anything out of
think, yeah, and I just want to see again, you can run the ball in Indy. They did it week one. You can run the ball here. So, I mean, all you got to do is, you get establish the run early on and hit some play action. The problem is that the reason the offense didn't put up 40 on Indy last week was because, or last time they played, was because the offensive line couldn't protect. It's the same problems that they've had all year. It started in week one, and it's been an issue the whole year. So, um, there's problems there, and it's frustrating, but. I will say that if they clean up the offensive line problems, they're a very good football team, and they are a contending football team. And like you said, it doesn't seem like it'd be that tough to figure out. It's simple things like why the hell is your tackle blocking the linebacker when he should be blocking the edge rusher? Or, I mean, why is Kenyon Green still starting? It's like legitimately, if you fix two things, I feel like you bench Kenyon and you figure the shit out with the offensive line communication. Like I'm not asking for it to be fixed over 1 week. Just show signs of like being progressively better, which they haven't done. It's been 7 weeks, and if anything, it's gotten worse. So, um, but you got to make a change. Like you can't stick with the same group all year long if this is going to be the problems. So if anything, you'd almost rather have. I wouldn't have an issue because I do think there's a problem with IDing certain things too, IDing a blitz, sliding, stuff like that. So I wouldn't mind having Jared Patterson in at left guard because then you almost have two centers, would make their jobs easier. They could ID stuff easier. You could do that type of stuff easier because, and I think Jared Patterson's just a better player than Kenyon Green. So, like,
It's not much of a compliment, Jared. We're not really
no,
hyping you up here.
yeah. We're not. Yeah, I'm not acting like Jared's Quentin Nelson, but I'm not sure if Drew worked for. I'm not sure if you worked out for a month, you couldn't be a better left guard than Kenyon Green. So if you work with an offensive line coach for a month, you probably could have better
Oh my
fundamentals than
God.
Kenyon Green. So
Yeah.
shit, at least you could at least you could not duck your head. You can keep your head up.
Exactly. Exactly. I might close my eyes, but I
Yeah,
wish
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Drew?
No, I think really the main point for the game against the Colts is I don't really get much out of a 3-point victory.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Well,
the
shit, if they
Texans
put
lose.
up 40, if it's 40-37, I'm cool with
Okay,
that.
that's fine. That's fine.
We got to
But
score some
yeah,
points, man. Score some
yeah.
points.
I'd rather them win by 10, win by 15, or lose by 10, lose by 13, just to see like, oh, you improved upon this, or oh, wow, the Colts really exposed us.
Yeah.
Because this is a must-win game, in my
Oh, yeah.
opinion. Now, obviously, maybe the Colts could like lose some games they should have won or whatever. But I think they need to actually win this game. Then they need to have that attitude too, especially after how they played against the Packers. People might sweep it under the rug because of their record. And that's what they think of the Packers. I don't think the Texans will sweep under the rug.
No.
Also got healthier too. Corey's gonna be back. Henry Toa is gonna be back. The linebackers look fine. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think they'll lose, like you said. I don't think they'll lose. But I really, again, this is another game. We're still learning more about how the team operates and how they play. How they play. We're still finding out more about them. We're not really there to where we can say they have an identity. So they're still figuring it out. So I'm just really intrigued to see how they play, regardless of the result. I'll say that hopefully after Thanksgiving, I won't have to say that anymore, and we'll know
Yeah.
what the hell's going on. But that's
Well,
all
here,
I
let's
gotta
end
say
off
there.
with this. I just went on Twitter. I just saw CJ Stroud during his press conference said, "I know this week the protection is going to be great, and I can't wait for it." So, oh
No,
boy.
no.
He said he wants the same positive energy from the media for the offense when they perform well after this weekend.
You're gonna hear.
So
We will make sure you get the same energy, CJ. We will make sure you get the same energy.
so you know what? To me, either he knows Kenyon Green got benched, or or I mean, at some point it has to get fixed because it's not that it doesn't seem like it'd be that complex, man. It really doesn't. But just wanted to end off with that. But hope you all enjoyed this episode. Me and Drew got a fun weekend coming up. We got A&M LSU. I, so so I'm repping. I'm repping A&M. He's going to the game. So it should be a good
Yeah.
weekend. It'll be a fun weekend for us. I'll definitely shoot you a text during that game. All
The Tigers.
right. Hope y'all enjoyed. Excited to come back here next weekend. Hopefully the protection. Hopefully we don't see these tackles trying to block linebackers again. Um, but like I said, hope y'all enjoyed. Make sure y'all stay tuned for next episode, and we'll see y'all next time.